We're back. I like this hook. You got a book you want to tell us about? Well, let's talk. There's no other place to do it. Only on Catch Da Craze. Catch Da Craze. Welcome to Catch Da Craze Podcast audio mix, and I am whatever you say I am, and if I wasn't, then why? No, he's like, I'm Sam the Crazy Man Vera, and I am with
George Medina. See, I don't change it up.
You don't change it up.
I keep it simple. You over here rapping like you Eminem and stuff.
I pick up the books that I like to read.
Wow.
My fans all know me as Mr. Crazy. Remember that?
Yeah, dude. What's up, man?
How do you do?
I do good, man. I do good. It's been
Been a minute?
Yeah, it's been a minute. Well, yeah, I mean, it's been a minute in real life. It's been a minute.
It's been a while.
Yeah. But how was your Halloween?
I don't remember it. I worked.
Really?
Yeah, I worked.
Yeah, because I know you were telling me how crazy it gets across the street.
The weather helped.
Really?
So for those of you who don't know about my Halloweens in my neighborhoods, normally there's police on my property and up and down the block directing traffic. And I have to get an escort onto my property. The weather, because it was raining and it was winding and it was, see, I don't even understand.
It was winding.
It was windy.
Wow, it was windy.
Hot mess.
I got you, bro.
Hello.
It was windy.
I am a hot mess. It was windy. There weren't thousands, but there were hundreds. So it was actually better.
Jesus, thousands? Like you really get I'm talking about like the whole block is lined up with kids.
Like the Irish parade, the St. Patrick's parade. I'm talking about.
So they close the street. They close the street.
Yeah.
There's no traffic on the street that night.
No, there's traffic, but it's slow crawl.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. And it's so by the time I get onto the Ave that leads up to my neighborhood, you get a dead stop and it's like a slow crawl.
Jeez.
Boom, boom.
Wow.
So Halloween, I don't remember it. It came and went. How was yours?
It was good. It was uneventful. What did I do? You're right. It rained, so nothing really happened. I don't even remember what the heck I did. That sucks. Yeah, it wasn't.
It wasn't a Halloween for me. I didn't go to any parties.
Dude, it didn't even feel like Halloween, to be honest with you.
I wasn't even invited to any parties.
Wow. Yeah, I remember like Halloween back in the days. Talk about back in the days.
On the Boulevard of Linden?
You used to get egged for Halloween. Because you used to just like it was crazy out there for Halloween back in the day.
Yes. See,
I don't know if it was because we were like in the hood, but
yes.
Dude, like egging was like a regular thing. Like, you were getting egged. You were walking out your house that day. You're probably gonna catch an egg.
And you were
face.
lucky if it was just an egg, because I'm
right.
Potatoes. Yo, you ever got a cocotazo on your head with a potato?
With a potato?
Oh no. Man, it gives you a new name for potato head, right?
Wow.
So no, in the hood, you knew how you had to navigate safely because you had fun with your friends and you threw eggs, but then there would be mobs. There were like groups of guys, like 20, 30 deep. Dude. And they don't want to just egg you.
Yeah, no.
They want to hurt you.
Yeah. Stores used to not sell eggs.
Yes.
Like for Halloween. Like they would just stop selling eggs. Like you just couldn't get eggs.
So this is that moment.
That was that moment.
This is the moment where I share a story.
Oh, yes. Sam's Wild World of Stories. Let's go.
I must have been 16. 15, 16 years old. And, we bought all eggs. I was smart enough to buy the eggs a couple weeks in advance because the day of Halloween, you can't buy eggs. So got my eggs, meeting my boys, we're going to the block, right? And we're in the park and we're acting up. And next you ever seen the movie The Wanderers?
No.
Oh, man.
The Wanderers?
Yeah. The Wanderers, well, there's a gang called the Ducky Boys.
Okay.
And the Wanderers. And there are thousands of them, right? So anyway, we're walking through, and next you see a whole squad, at least 40, 50 deep. And I'm like, they don't notice us. And they start running in our direction.
Oh.
And
how many guys did you have?
8.
8, and how many did?
About 40.
Okay.
It was over.
So, yeah,
it was over. So we looked at each other. And in the neighborhoods we grew up, we always used to tell each other back to back, right? If you ever get in trouble, back to back, don't fall, because if you fall, I'm done, right? So there was no back to back. It was jet, right? I hope you're as fast as I am because I'm out, right? So like, and we're hustling, and we see the building or racing to the building, and these ladies are like, ah! They see us coming. They see the mom coming after us. They're trying to get the keys in the door. They open the door. We go running in, and one of the ladies closed the door, and my friend Angel's outside. So we get into the elevator. And they caught they caught about 2 of us, and the elevator closed, and you see them door closed. We're going up, and they caught 2 from down there. I was like, whatever. Or was it going back? We took it to the top. We ran into the roof. We took the fire escape down to the side. We went around the back. We caught up with them later. They just got a couple of whacks, and they were good.
That was it.
Yeah, but it was rough. It was rough.
So it was, back in the days, you got jumped. It was
rough.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, those kids would have gotten killed today. If it was today, like with the way kids are now, dude, they would have been dead. Bro.
There's no taters.
No.
There's no eggs. There's no eggs. It's all
straight up knives and guns.
It's violence.
It's insane, bro.
What happened to the fun?
What happened to Manhunt? You ever play Manhunt?
I played Manhunt.
Yeah. Yes. Whatever happened to that?
Yes, I used to play 7 Minutes in Heaven. Remember that?
7 minutes.
Remember you go to hooky parties and you play 7 Minutes in Heaven.
7 minutes.
I was just hoping it wasn't the girl that I wasn't attracted to. I was like, oh no, not you. Please not you. I'm looking at the girl that I'm attracted to, and then the other guy gets up. Like, oh man, it was horrible.
Did you ever think that girl was thinking the same thing about you?
Nah, man.
Nah?
I was a cutie.
You were the Papi Chulo back in the days?
I was a cutie. So we have a special guest on later on today. I don't know how we went off into a tangent.
Actually, he went to your high school.
Yes, which is crazy.
He went to your high school, yeah. So Mark Torres is going to be on the show. So that's kind of how it ties in.
Yeah.
He actually went. What was the name of your high school?
Hillcrest.
So yeah. So we're going to talk to Mark, and he's got a show called "It Came from the Radio."
Yep, I was a guest on his show.
You were a guest, okay? Yeah, and we're going to talk to him a little bit about the show and what inspired him to put it together and all that fun stuff. But that's funny, man. That he went to school with you, and you had.
I didn't know him.
You didn't know him. How big was your school? I mean, how big was your school? Your school must have been pretty big, because
it was big.
Yeah,
it was big enough to have about 50 gangs.
Wow. That's pretty big. Yeah, it's pretty big.
It was a rough school at the time I went there. If you hung outside, you risk getting into an altercation. Bottom line. Robbed or into an altercation. That's an unfortunate part of going to that school. I had fun when I was inside. When I was outside, it was not fun.
Did you walk to school, or were you?
I lived only 2 blocks away.
Oh, so you did walk to
school.
I
walked to school.
So there was no busing. You didn't take a bus.
Nah. I unfortunately had to go to that school because when I finished junior high school, I couldn't go to the School of Art and Design in the city because it wasn't in my district.
Yeah.
And I would have to do 2 years before I can consider being transferred, and I had to maintain a grade level. It was already discouraged. So I was like, I'm done.
Oh, wow.
I'm done.
So where'd you end up going?
Hillcrest.
You mean from junior high?
Yeah, I couldn't go to. Yeah, I couldn't go.
Gotcha.
Unless I had a specific grade.
Gotcha.
I was a B+ student. I wasn't an A student. So
you needed to be an A student to learn how to draw.
Damn A's. Yeah. So I wasn't an A student. My friend Gregory, Tito, and Eddie, they all were A students, and I was the B+.
Did they go?
No, I think Gregory must be some sort of scientist or financial analyst somewhere. He was such a brain. Tito, he's probably went into stocks, or maybe he owns a restaurant. I mean, they were very smart guys as kids, and good parents, good upbringing, great foundation.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you were rejected by that school, which brings us to our topic for today, right?
Yep.
Rejection.
Yes.
How to deal with rejection.
Yes, and here's an article on INC, which basically shows 5 ways that mentally strong people deal with rejection. But before we go into there and going over each way to deal with it, have you been rejected before?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
George the Dreamer?
Yeah. I mean, schools, whether it's a girls' school.
Please explain.
I mean, sometimes you're just not somebody's match. You know what I mean? Sometimes people just say, hey, you know what? It's not for you, not this time around. And you got to pick yourself up and dust yourself off and keep it moving.
Right.
I mean,
Talk about the feeling when you first got rejected.
I guess with I mean, it depends on your age too, right? So like I feel like when you're younger, you don't know how to deal with it. Like the first time it happens to you, right? Like how do you deal with that? Like, holy cow, somebody doesn't want me. So that's the first time. So that feeling. Oh, you just muted me. That feeling. What are we doing? That feeling. This kid's playing. That feeling of rejection. I think that one hurts. And then, like when you get rejected again, you kind of know what to expect. I don't think it lessens. Maybe it lessens the blow, but it still hurts. I think the first time you get rejected, though, that's the big one.
All depends on how you got rejected.
I mean, I don't know. A no is a no, right? Like if you've never heard no before, and all of a sudden somebody just no. Are you crazy? No. You're like, what? You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, even if it's nice, even if it's done nicely, like, yeah, you know what? You're not really for us. You're still not getting it. You're still not getting what you want.
I think over the years, I've adapted to the idea of being rejected because it started when I was about 5 years old.
This kid is on a couch right now.
I was like 5 years old. Her name was Sonia, and I was in love with Sonia. And I remember getting a lollipop, and I went up to her window, and I said, "Hello, Sonia, will you be my girlfriend?" And then my friend Boris came with this big giant lollipop, and he's like, "Will you be my girlfriend?" And she took the bigger lollipop. Ain't that something?
Hey, listen. Look here, man. Can't be coming over here with no little lollipops and expect to get Sonia.
Oh my God!
Sonia wanted the big lollipop.
It ruined my life. But when I got into writing and illustrating, I remember when I would send my submissions to traditional publishers, not comic books, but like children's book publishers. I mean, I have about maybe 48 rejection letters. I remember the first time it came in the mail, I was like, I'm excited. I opened it up. It's like, thank you, but no thank you, right? And then I'm like, and so I put them all in a binder. I got them somewhere packed. Yeah. And it was painful. Then I remember when I said this on a previous show, I submitted something to Top Cow. And I got back photocopies of Michael Turner's.
Oh, yeah. When you look like this,
portfolio.
Call us back.
And it's like, yo, son, step away. Don't even come back. Put that pencil down. Change careers.
But I think, but it made you, I mean, sometimes.
Resilient.
Yeah, sometimes it could kill you to the point where it's like,
yes,
you're like, holy cow, I'm never doing this again. And sometimes that just drives you even more to say, you know what? I'm gonna get better, and I'm gonna come back, and you're gonna want me.
Yes. And I think that's the challenge of what you do with that rejection. How do you overcome it? How do you process it? How do you take it for what it is, and not make it more than that? I think look into why. I had to teach myself to understand, why am I being rejected? What was it about this product? What was it missing? Did I rush it? All those things. And, the first time you're like, all right, I don't want to pick up a pencil. A few days go by, you're like, all right, I'm going to start drawing again. So I think it's never easy. So I want to see what the mentally strong people have to say about this. It says they acknowledge their emotions. We talked about emotions. Rather than suppress, ignore, or deny the pain, mentally strong people acknowledge their emotions. They admit when they're embarrassed, sad, disappointed, or discouraged. Interesting. They have confidence in their ability to deal with uncomfortable emotions head on, which is essential to coping with their discomfort in a healthy manner. They admit when they're embarrassed. That's the hardest part of rejection.
Well, yeah. I mean, before the show started, we were talking about getting into fights, and the biggest and the fear wasn't losing the fight.
Right.
Well, or getting hurt in the fight, so to speak. The fear was being embarrassed and losing the fight, right? So they're saying that mentally strong people deal with rejection by not being embarrassed by it. Is that what that's?
Yes.
Okay.
That's my take. They acknowledge, they admit that they are embarrassed.
Right.
Yes, this is embarrassing. Yeah, this is.
And I guess that helps you move on because once you've admitted that it is embarrassing, now you can get over that, and then, do what you have to do to get past it and say, okay,
Right.
I'm gonna start work to get better and
Right.
that kind of thing.
Right. So let's see. They view rejection as evidence they're pushing the limits. Mentally strong people know that rejection serves as proof that they're living life to the fullest. They expect to be rejected sometimes, and they're not afraid to go for it, even when they suspect it may be a long shot. Right? And I think it's like, expect that you're going to have resistance. Expect that you're going to get critics. Expect that you might not hit a home run. Right? And I think that helps prepare for the mental game that's needed to be able to navigate in that world.
Yeah.
Right?
Because it does become something it becomes a mental thing,
Yeah, I mean, let's see. They treat themselves with compassion. That's an interesting one. Rather than think, you're so stupid for thinking you could do that, mentally strong people treat themselves with compassion. They respond to negative self-talk with a kinder, more affirming message. Whether you're getting dumped by your long-term love or blindsided by a recent firing, beating yourself up will only keep you down. Right. Yeah, speak to yourself like a trusted friend. Sam, it's okay. You'll get through this. Right? And drown out your harsh inner critic by repeating helpful mantras that will keep you mentally strong. I am brilliant. I am smart. I am a somebody.
You are special.
Yes.
You are very special.
Human.
Yeah.
It's all in.
Sometimes the song.
George's like, all day I'm there. He goes, so, what do you think about that one?
Yeah. I mean,
you said a mouthful. He's like, yeah.
Listen, it's funny because you don't, some of these things you're like, really? They
Right.
work? But when you're in that situation, try these things and they probably do work. Because if you think, you get rejected and you just beat yourself up and say, you're stupid. I'm dumb. Yeah, I ain't nothing. No wonder they reject. Look at this. This looks like garbage. That's why they rejected me. But if you sit down and say, all right, you know what? That didn't work out. And I can see what they mean.
Right.
I'm going to make this better. And you treat yourself with that compassion, then you're probably more likely to stand up and keep going than say, you know what? I'm putting this away. I ain't doing this.
How often do you find yourself talking to yourself?
I do. It sounds crazy, but yeah.
It's nuts, right?
Yeah, I do. Like when you walk out the house, sometimes you're thinking, what am I going to do tomorrow? Okay, what am I doing tomorrow? And you're talking to yourself and you're like, oh, shoot, I'm saying this thing out loud. Yeah. And it's like, oh. But yeah.
It's crazy.
You do.
Yeah, it happens in the wrong times.
Wow. Yeah.
Happens in the wrong when you start laughing at something you were thinking about out loud and people like out of nowhere, you're sitting quiet and next thing you start laughing and you're like, what the hell? What's wrong with this guy? Or when you're walking and you're like, no, that's not going to, you arguing with yourself.
Wow. Yeah.
And you realize, wait, there are people around. There are people around. Why am I arguing with myself?
What are you arguing to yourself about? Like, what are you arguing?
When you get like somebody does something and you have to deal with it and then you're like, and then you're trying to rehearse what the conversation is going to be, and you're speaking for them, like you know what the answer is going to be, and you're like, right. No, right? It's like, and then you're like, what's wrong with me?
Does that prepare you for that confrontation?
Never goes the way I want. The way I anticipate it, no.
It's usually you usually see it worse than what it actually ends up happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's probably because I went through all this head junk. Right.
Well, you're prepping yourself for the worst. That's good, though. That's good when you prepare yourself for the worst, and then all of a sudden you get there, you're like, "Oh, this is not bad."
Yes. So the next one is they refuse to let rejection define them. That is something that most people struggle with. So mentally strong people don't make sweeping generalizations when they're rejected. If one company turns them down for a job, they don't declare themselves incompetent. Or if they get rejected by a single love interest, they don't conclude they're unlovable. They keep rejection in proper perspective. How many times they get rejected and say, I'm a failure?
Right. Overboard. Everything's over. Life's over.
Yes.
Kill myself.
I'm just a misfit.
Yeah.
Why am I such a nitwit? That was from one of those Santa Claus cartoons, remember? Anyway, so yes, I think that's key. It's like, wait, why am I putting a can? Sorry about that. Why am I putting a hand in the camera? That's important. That you don't let anything define you, because I think what defines you is grit, not rejection. Your ability to come back from rejection. And then the last one, they learn from rejection. Mentally strong people ask themselves, what did I gain from this? So they can learn from rejection. Rather than simply tolerate the pain, they turn it into an opportunity for self-growth. With each rejection, they grow stronger and become better.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And that's like, even when we started the whole conversation, when you first get rejected, you don't know how to deal with it, right? But after a while, you and this is, saying that you do the things that they're saying. Basically, you don't get, you're not hard on yourself. You don't do those things. Eventually, rejection just becomes something that you're like, not a big deal.
Right.
I'll move on and I'll do this, or okay, I'll learn from that, and I'm gonna, because you prepare yourself, and that's what it is. Prepare yourself mentally,
right,
so that the next time it happens, you know how to handle it. But I think that and like in life, that comes with just it happening to you over and over and over again.
Yes.
So yeah, no, it's interesting. 5 ways mentally strong people deal with rejection. Where'd you get this?
Online. I just when I was coming up with the pre-conversation concepts, I thought about rejection. Yeah, you good?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Because if you got beef over there, let me know.
No, we're good. He's being good.
All right, so no, I thought it would be a great topic before our show with our guest, which would be in another 10 minutes. Just to cover. So the month of November, we have quite a bit of, where is that? Let me get back to, we have a nice roster for the month of November. If I go into the events calendar and I go into, let's see. So we have the Fan Appreciation Show.
Well, that would have happened already.
Yeah. That's right. We did a time warp.
Yeah.
So we have Mark Torres today. And we have Fernando Ruiz.
That'll be next week.
And we have also Jerry Winsborough.
Yep.
Right? So the month of November is pretty cool. We have Fan Appreciation. We had Fan Appreciation.
That went well.
We did it, done it, been there. It's crazy stuff. It's crazy.
For an explanation on this, just see 2 episodes ago. I think we explained the whole process 2 episodes ago.
Yes. So anyway, what you see on the screen is our Facebook page. If you are just listening to our show for the first time, follow us on Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube. We're on iHeartRadio. We're on TuneIn Radio. We're on Apple Podcast. We're on Spotify. We are everywhere.
And you got the gear. You're wearing the gear.
I'm wearing the gear, right? The number one podcast.
Tell us about the gear. Where'd you get? Where do you get this?
FRESH. Fresh. I'm fresh.
So if you want to be, okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
So if you want to be fresh, where do you get like a hat? Say for example, you want a hat and you want to represent. Where do you get that?
You go to the link. It's on our. Hold on 1 second. You go to our link and it's shop. Oh, I'm going to the wrong pages. Excuse me. Sorry. Cancel. What am I doing?
I don't know.
So anyway,
it's on the fan page.
It's on the fan page, and there's a link that takes you to the storefront where you can buy the hats, the shirts, right? Get all freshed up, right? Represent the show. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
Yes.
They got different colors, or is it the blue and?
You can do any color you want. It's
okay.
It's already set up. You can just change it, dibble dabble. It's pretty cool. So what else is going down the pike, Mr. Medina?
Down the pike? A lot of things are coming down the pike. I mean, just like you said, well, just this month alone. But next month in December, we have a a nice little
lineup
coming up. We have for the first time, I think we're gonna do something different. We've had artists, as far as whether it's comic book artists or whether it's involved in the comic book industry, teachers, art teachers, and things of that nature. Next month, we're gonna have a musical artist. So I've spoken to her, and we're gonna get her on the show and have her come. I won't say yet who it is, but we're gonna speak to Mark.
All right, so. Hello. Welcome to Catch Da Craze. We have our guest on the phone, Mark Torres.
Yes, I am here, and I am on the phone.
What's up, Mark?
How's it going, man?
All right. How you been?
I am doing all right. I'm puttering along, as I usually do.
There you go.
So, buddy, I mean, before we talk about what you're doing now, let's talk about how it all began. I mean, one thing I learned once a month ago or so when we first launched Catch Da Craze is that you and I went to the same high school and never even knew each other.
Yes, Hillcrest High School. I cannot believe that.
Yes, I can't believe it. Tell us about that. I mean,
Hillcrest High School,
where did you live?
Where my life changed.
Where your life?
Where did you live?
I live born and raised in Rosedale, Queens. On the border of Valley Stream, Long Island, right around there.
And you traveled all the way to Hillcrest?
I traveled all the way to Hillcrest. It was a 45-minute bus ride.
Wow, what possessed you?
Well, to be honest, my zone school, which was Springfield Gardens, was not a good school to go to, and I was determined not to go to a bad high school.
And you chose us. You chose Hillcrest.
And I chose Hillcrest. It had an art program.
Yeah, but the art, I don't know. The art program wasn't that special. Not that least.
It was for me. It didn't have it in Springfield at the time.
I liked shop class because we learned we had metal shop, but that's
yes, that was Mr. List, right?
I believe so. Yes. And did you have Miss Tartaglia at all?
No, I did not.
How about Mrs. Johnson?
No, Mr. Johnson.
Oh, wow.
It was who did I have? What the hell was that guy's name? Manning, Mr. Manning, I think his name was.
What was he teaching?
He was Spanish. I had Pardo, which was also Spanish. I used to hang out at the Spanish area a lot. And the social studies department I hanged out a lot at.
Yeah, I just remember Miss Tartaglia because she failed me. And I remember Mrs. Johnson because she used to call me Vinny Barbarino. So they stuck out to me.
Do you remember Miss Garcia? Because she was hot.
Where's Garcia?
Did you guys go to the same high school? Like, did you go to school, Sam?
I went to school. I just don't remember all the teachers. I remember the girls, and I remember trying to dodge all of the violence. But
the violence.
Yes.
We went the same years, right? We graduated in 92?
Yeah.
Well, you left.
I left.
It was your class in 92, though.
I left because I valued my life. But yeah.
Yeah. Mark, this guy makes that school sound like it was like that thing from Dangerous Minds. Like, he makes it sound.
It really wasn't.
See, the difference is Mark stood in class.
Oh, you were outside doing
I was
things.
Outside of class.
It was going downhill. I can say that because I remember the last year, 92. There was a shooting out front of the school.
Okay.
And the thing was, they shot the wrong person.
Holy.
You don't remember?
And it was on a Wednesday.
It was
one of the teachers. There was this big fight. It was a school called Franklin Clean that came down. It was about 50 of them that came down to our school. So there was this big rumble outside of the school, and the teachers were trying to break up the fight. And one of the teachers got his skull opened by a golf club.
That didn't happen. When were you? When was that happening?
That was outside. See, you stood inside. You were good students. You stood inside.
God.
Unfortunately,
So Mark,
I got dragged outside.
Aside from the violence that Sam apparently experienced, and you didn't. So you went to high school and you went there. You said for the art program. So were you an artist? Did you wanted to be a comic book artist, or what kind of artist did you did?
I wanted to be comic books. That was when I was little kid, little Mark. Always wanted to be the comic book artist. But as I learned and grew, that you got to be the writer if you want to control the stories.
Ah, okay. So you started writing.
I started writing. And I went after Hillcrest. I went to the Academy of New York Comic Book Art and Fantasy Illustration.
Really?
Yeah.
Are they still around?
No.
He said no. Short-lived. So wait. So you went there. How long were you there for?
A year.
Oh, 1 year. Okay. Well, and what did you learn anything there? Like, did you feel like, wait,
I learned a lot of the behind the scenes of the industry, and that writing is the way to do it. That's what I learned.
Did they have like any like speakers come in like from the industry and talk to you guys, or?
They had some guys from Valiant. So it was Stu Suchint.
Okay.
He was a teacher. Russ Braun, who now draws The Boys on the comic book. He was a teacher there. Prentice Rollins, he's an author. He was an inker for DC for a long time. He was there. I think those are the three main big name teachers that they had.
Right. So then you were there for a year. So that would make it what, 93, 94, something like that?
This was 94, 95, if I'm not mistaken. It might have been 93, 94, but I think it was 94, 95.
So this was like when Image was huge, man. Like that was like during that whole explosion, and like everybody just wanted to do that, what those guys were doing. So then what'd you do after that? Where'd you go from there?
Good old Blockbuster Video.
Really? So you started working for Blockbuster Video?
Yeah.
Is that why they went under?
Man, you know what's funny? Every job I've had, except for the last one that I'm doing, all out of business.
Knock on wood. Knock on wood, Mark. So wait, all right, so let's fast forward to the Comic Book Novice show in 2003, right? That's when you started that show?
That was our very first episode, 2003. I think it was around Valentine's Day, because that's when the first Daredevil movie came out with Ben Affleck.
Yes.
That was our first show.
So how did you put the show together? Walk us through that whole process. Here you are. Okay, listen, I love comic books. I want to be a writer. I want to be in the comic book industry. Let me start this show. How did that happen?
Well, I've been trying all through Blockbuster. I was trying to get my book made because in school I learned that at the time, if you had $2,000, you can make a book. That was the number they said. If you have $2,000, you can be able to make your own book. They didn't mention about publishing and paying other people.
Right.
They just said $2,000, you're able to have a book.
So you had your $2,000.
So I was trying to get my book made, and I was not successful in doing so. And I was driving on Long Island, and I heard it on the radio, like, hey, if you have an interest if you have a passion for a subject, we want to, have your own show on our radio station. This was 1240 AM, WGBV, Long Island's oldest radio station, where you guys went down.
Yeah, I remember that.
So I heard that on the radio, and I had never heard anything before. I was kind of looking for a direction. Right. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do that. So I called up my friend who I had met at school, the comic book school, which was Hassan Godwin.
Yes.
And I was like, hey, Hassan, if you think we could do a radio show together, would you be interested? And he's like, sure. He didn't think I was serious. But once he said yes, then I started the process. I contacted the station. We did all the stuff, and then we started the show. Because the plan was that I was going to use the show to talk to people in network, in turn, to get my book published.
Oh, okay. So that was your way to. So wait, real quick, side story. So what is this book? Is this book still out there being made, or did you completely give? It is. So what is this? Do you want to tell us what the book is about, or do you want to just?
The book is right now it is called Designated. It's going to be eventually published by what's the name of that company? Now I gotta go look it up. It's Mariano Necezia, who's Fabian's brother.
Okay.
He has a publishing company that has made work with William Shatner's Man of War and Stanley's God Woke.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yeah.
Let's see, what the hell is that name? This is great radio.
Yeah.
I should have wrote this down.
No, it's all right. I just heard you talking about a book, and I'm like, wait a minute. I always knew Mark for the shows that he did, the radio shows and stuff. I never knew that you were actually doing this to put this book together and put something out.
Yeah, that was the original plan.
That's amazing. So how many episodes of the Comic Book Novice did you do?
Oof.
Yeah.
I don't even remember. It's one thing I learned. I should have been keeping count.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, I did, such and such amount of shows. I was like, I don't know. I just kept on doing one a week, and they just kept on going.
Wow,
we never actually counted.
Jeez. Well, okay.
And live every time.
So let me ask you this: how, as far as time wise? So it started in 2003. When did I know that you? It's something different now. Is it the same show? It came from
Apex Comics. There it is. Apex Comics.
Okay. So that's where it's going to be published.
That is where it's going to be published. Apex Comics.
Sweet.
It's going to be called Designated. It's 110 pages, already written, already penciled. It just is not finished, inked and colored and lettered. But it's made. So it's set in the 90s because that's when I wrote it. So now it's been so long.
Now it's a period piece, Mark. Now it's a period piece.
Yeah, it's set in the 90s now. So yeah.
Sweet, man. And so are you the artist and writer, or you just decided
I am just the writer.
Okay.
I got a friend of mine. Well, back then, once again, you got your artist as you get a back end deal is what they call. So you say, hey, I need you to do this work for free.
Right.
And then when the book sells,
that's right,
you're going to get some of the money.
There you go.
And he was like, yeah. But since the book never sells, he never got any money.
Wow.
But he's the first person I'm going to pay.
There you go.
Never make any money off of this book.
Wait, did he draw all 110 pages?
All 110 pages.
Wow.
Actually, he drew the 110 pages. And then when he finished, because it took a while to get this done, he actually improved his artwork as the time went along. Right. So then I had him go back and redo a couple of pages on the earlier issues. So he did probably, I'm going to say 150, maybe 200 pages in total.
You definitely have to pay that man. That is
that's Jade Smith, if anybody wants to hire him.
There you go. Wow, man. So you have this book, 110 pages. It's you wrote it. It's called Designated, coming out on Apex. And Apex Comics. And so you did this Comic Book Novice show for God knows how many episodes. And now you're still on the radio though. You just kept doing the whole radio thing. So now it's called It Came From the Radio as of 2011.
Yes.
Okay, how's that going? So tell us a little bit about what that format is. What's the format of the show?
I mean, basically, it's the exact same show with a couple of minor changes. So as I was doing the radio show, it just got to be too expensive to do it. So we took a break. Yeah. And then during that time, I went to work at a movie theater. So Blockbuster closed down, went to work for a movie theater. And at the movie theater, I ran into the projectionist. And the projectionist, are you guys wrestling fans by any chance?
Yeah, I like wrestling. I mean, old school wrestling, but yeah.
Yeah, so do you know Taz?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, big,
His brother ran the projection booth at the movie theater I was working at.
What?
Yeah. So then we got to be talking. We became friends. We were talking about movies and stuff, and he loves old school movies and what have you. And I was telling him about that we used to have a radio show, and he's like, we should bring the radio show back. Let's bring it back. Let's go. I was like, well, it's expensive. He's like, nah, we'll work it out. We'll get some other people. We'll get some money. We'll do it. So that's what we did.
Wow. So and then it came from the radio.
Yeah, because I was speaking to, so it was myself, Hassan again, because at the time Hassan was my Ed Norton to my Ralph Cramden. I couldn't do it without him. And Herman Sinertia, which is Taz's brother. And then there was Terminal Press, Brian Ferreira. He was the fourth guy. Okay. And he had some ideas. And he's like, well, we shouldn't have continued the old show since it took a break. Let's give it a new name. And I don't remember what day it was, because when we worked at the theater, we used to be able to play the movies the Thursday night before they came out Friday. So we used to have all the employees come in for free screening night. And so we had a vote. We all, each four of us came up with one name for this new name of the show. And we went downstairs to the audience before we played the movie for them, and we had a vote. And they voted for that name. It came from the radio.
Who came up with that name?
I don't remember.
So that I was doing a little research, and it said that September 1st, 2011 was when the show changed.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And now, okay, so let me ask you this. So now you were doing this show to raise this or to get your book out, and it ended up costing you money. When you said it got expensive, what were some of the expenses that you had to incur when you're doing a radio show for anybody who wants to do a
radio show, unless you are Howard Stern or like what was that? What's that guy? Elvis Duran, like somebody big.
Yeah.
You go to the studio and you have to become the producer of your show, which means you're the one that has to pay for the airtime. And then you make the money back with advertisers.
Gotcha.
I am terrible at getting advertisers.
So that didn't work out so well. Oh, Mark, that's great. Well, listen, at least you're honest. You know what I mean? It's like,
hey,
terrible.
I only can do what I can do.
There you go. That's it. So then it came from the radio. Is it working out better now that you have
right
like
now
a crew?
It is.
Okay.
Because we have sponsors,
Okay.
and we actually moved to a different studio.
Okay.
And the cost is way much lower now.
Right.
And that's the studio that I went to.
Yes, that was the studio we went to. And that's the Grindhouse Radio Studio. And the best thing about that is that as of this very second, right today, the amount of money the show makes is slightly higher than the amount of money the show costs.
That's good.
So I'm $3 more. I'm still positive. I'm no longer.
You're not losing money. Yeah, you're not bleeding money.
I got to zero, and now I'm a little over the hurdle. So that's why we're still doing it.
Good for you. So when does the show come on? Like if people want to listen to it, where can they listen to the?
If people want to listen to it, it's actually on the radio on 88.1 FM WARY in Westchester County. They play the show multiple times every weekday night, so Monday through Friday after 10 p.m. I think he said he plays like 2 or 3 times. So they get tired of listening to us over there overnight. But it's also available, I believe, around like 26 other podcast places right now. So if you just Google It Came From the Radio, you can find us. Or if you go to our website, me being a not technical guy, I figured out how to put a player on our website. You just go to our website and play our shows. And also there is an online radio station called BeyondTheDawnStudios.com, and that plays us every Thursday at 4 p.m. Once a week, every new show, because we do a show once a week. And we record the shows on our Facebook Live. We do it behind the scenes on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Gotcha.
All right. Well, you sound like you're very busy.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
The Designated Comic Book, Mark.
Yes.
It's 110 pages. Is it a one-shot graphic novel, or do you have plans for like spin-offs or maybe a continuation of that same title down the road?
The way I had set it up was that it was going to be a beginning, middle, and full story. It was originally going to be 5 different issues, but because back in the time that was what you had to do.
Right.
But then as the comic book industry changed, you had to make the graphic novel first. But I wanted to make sure it was beginning, middle, end. But I left it with an open ending, so I could, if it did sell, I could continue the story. But it's one, beginning, middle, end.
So how did you hook up with Apex Comics? How did that happen?
Apex Comics, that is Mariano Necesi, as I mentioned before. He was a guest on the show.
Oh.
He was working with RZG Comics, and I was telling him my woes about trying to get this book published. And he was like, hey, I have a publishing company. Let's work together and get it published.
So
of course,
your plan,
that was 100 years ago.
So your plan essentially worked, Mark.
Yeah.
Well, it essentially kind of worked. Like you were doing this show just to get the networking, and here's this guest. All of a sudden, he says, "Hey, listen, I'll publish you." And
he's getting. It's taken 100 years, but he is now my official publisher, and he actually got me to go to San Diego to sit on a panel to talk about the book. So it's slowly turtle's pace moving, Before it was a 3-legged turtle. Now we're on a 4-legged turtle.
There you go. Nice. The shell's getting lighter. Good for you, Mark. That's awesome, bro. That's amazing. So, 110 pages. Now, all that's left to be done to it, you said, is what? Coloring it and lettering it?
Colored and lettered, yeah.
And that's it. And then you're ready to rock.
Yeah. Oh, and then print it.
Now, okay, so let me ask you this. As a writer myself, you have a book that you've been working on for this long, right? You have it,
Yes.
your pages are done, you're finished, and you're ready to now start lettering. At any point, do you think that you're going to have to hold back that urge of changing things as as the book is being lettered, or even your script right now? Will it change from what you originally wrote to what you have now?
So the answer is no.
Okay.
Because
Survey
Okay.
says.
I, when I had originally wrote the story,
Yeah.
I had written it. Good
Yeah,
good
no,
job,
no.
writer. I had written it. It was written
Yes.
on a word processor. I didn't even have a computer back then,
Oh,
so
shoot.
I only had physical copies of the script.
Mm.
So Mariano was like, "We need digital versions of this."
It's 2019, Mark. We need some digital
Yeah.
copies of this thing.
So I had to type it all over again onto digital
Oh,
into the computer.
boy.
So I actually read the entire thing, and I hadn't read it for a long time.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Holy crap! It actually I liked it."
Okay. It held up.
like,
It
wow,
held
it
up
made
all that
sense.
time. Nice.
Yeah, I was like, it made sense. It did. It checked off all my boxes of a story that I would like. So I was like,
Mhm.
wow. And there were some things that I had written, and I was like, well, why the hell did I write that for? But then as I read the story, I was like, oh, that's why I wrote it. So everything I had questions for even explained itself. I was like, wow, I actually felt good rereading my story all this time later.
Right. You're like, I'm
And
pretty
there was
good there.
only
I'm a
one-
pretty good writer.
Yeah. And it was this one slight thing that I noticed,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm like, I couldn't change it because it would be too much to do, and then I have to get the new art and everything. So I was
Right.
like, you know what? I'm just gonna add a line of dialogue here,
Right.
and I will explain what happened to this one character that mysteriously vanished.
Wow. So you mentioned some boxes. What are these boxes that you're checking off for a story that you like?
A story has to make sense.
Okay.
That's number one.
Mhm.
So if if you set up rules in the story, you have to abide by the rules. It's one
Okay.
of the things that's always bothered me. Like when you watch a movie
Mm.
and they say, well, he's the last one, he can only do this, and then they change it halfway through the movie. Like, well, didn't you just say he
The
can
rule
do that?
was right. Okay.
Yeah. Another thing is that the characters are likable. And I'm like, they were still likable after all these years later.
Right.
And it actually held my interest. I wasn't bored.
Right.
I wasn't, and I'm critical. You're most critical of your own work.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
So as I'm going through, I'm like, wow. And I started, I slowly but surely, I was like, oh, this makes sense. Oh, I'm happy with this. I'm enjoying this. So that was the only thing that was important to me.
Right.
Likable characters, interesting story, makes sense.
Makes sense. Follow the rules. So now, what is the story about? Give us the elevator pitch.
All right. So the basic thing, the book is set in the 90s about two warring alien races. They are fighting over a gem, a mysterious power gem of whatever MacGuffin device.
Mm-hmm.
And the good aliens take the power source and they run away from the bad aliens, and they break the power source into six fragments. Yeah, six fragments. And the bad guy has one fragment, and it allows him to track the other 5 fragments. The good aliens crash land on Earth in Roswell, New Mexico, and the good alien realizes that he can hide the gem inside brains of people, and therefore it clouds them trying to track him down. So he integrates himself into the world, becomes a neurosurgeon, and he also realized that and the people who came with him, if he put it in their brains, it killed them. So he realized that he can put it in brains of humans, and it's undetectable. And as one tends to do whenever you integrate crystals in the human brains, you get powers.
Of course. So now he's creating all these superhumans.
Right.
Because
so now you have 5. Yes.
Okay.
And so that explains why it took us so long for them to find it. You know, it took so long, and that explains how he gets integrated. See, it was all the little things. Like,
the rules are
he
there.
was able to he came in Roswell. He was able to integrate into the world. He was able to become a neurosurgeon because you need time to do all that stuff.
Of course.
And why it takes so long to back out to find him? Because they couldn't track it. And then there was something that had an energy source that was similar to it, and that's how they found their way to Earth. And then at the time, back then in the 90s, everything was going overpowered with comic books. Everybody was like super powerful.
Yeah.
So my characters, their powers weren't that powerful. They were just like small little things, like enhancements.
Ah, okay. You wanted to be different from what was going on at that time. Which
exactly.
Kind of works today too. That's
yeah.
Look at you. You're a freaking brilliant mad scientist over here, creating these stories that make sense 20 years later. That's amazing. Good for you, man. Wow. And what inspired the story? Like, was it Roswell, the show Roswell back in the 90s? Was it what inspired the story?
It's actually funny.
Okay.
In the comic book school at the time, if you remember, when Image was coming out, what was the big thing? Create our own books. Create our own books.
That's right.
And the one other thing about create our own books, everybody was like, oh my God, they're going to steal my idea. They're going to steal my idea, right? Mm-hmm. Or if you want to get your book published, you have to give up your rights to the book.
That's right.
So when I was in the comic book school, I had actually wrote a different story about superheroes and space adventure. Mm-hmm. But then they were like, what you need to do is, that's your story. You have to make a second story, which you're willing to give up, just to get your name and your stuff printed. So this story became a necessity as my getting my foot in the door comic book for my real comic book that I wanted to publish.
Wow, what a mind. You know what? Holy cow. Jesus. And now here it is. Apex Comics picks it up. What do you have a release date for it?
I don't know what Mariano was doing.
All right.
I know is the if you go to Apex comic book, whatever, apexgroups.com or something like that, it has the cover. Okay. That's as far as he has it out.
You know what? I like the fact that your artist got better as time went along, went back and kind of did some re-edits of the story, and now, man, that's
that was actually a cool process, because sometimes he just needed to do one panel,
right?
And so he actually did the panel and he slapped it on top of the old panel.
Jeez, that's great. What is he working? Is he still working with you on things, or you kind of like, let's see where this goes?
No, that was pretty much it. We did the work. I was like, all right, I'll let you know, and then letting him know.
Wow. So he's not doing. So it's inked though. It is inked, right? Or somebody
partially. The first issue is actually inked and was sort of published. There were only 25 copies ever in existence. I only have one. I don't know where the other 24 are. But it was actually published, the first issue, so that is actually fully inked. The other ones, I think, like 1 or 2 pages are inked. So I got 88 more pages to go.
There you go.
They need to be.
That's it.
Inked.
Just chugging along.
Yeah.
So now, did you design the characters yourself with your art background, or was that something that you left completely up to the artist? How did that process work?
It was all me. Okay. I was like, what should these people look like? And I had a whole description, and I was like, all right, they look like this. And then he took the information that I gave him, and then he drew it. I was like, all right, I like that. I don't like that. That kind of a thing. Even the main 5 characters. You have a all-American girl. She was based off of Britney Spears. You have the male lead, and he was based off of Johnny Young Bosch, because I was a huge Power Ranger fan at the time. Right. And I still am. He's my favorite Power Ranger. He was the second Black Ranger who wasn't black. He was the Asian Ranger. The third girl was based on the Olsen twins, so they were supposed to resemble that.
Yeah.
The third one. The black guy was based off of the kid in the movie Day After Tomorrow.
Yes.
When the whole world got iced over.
Mm-hmm.
There was a black guy in there, and I was like, hey, that's the guy. He looks like that. That's who I envisioned. If I was casting somebody, that'd be him. So I took that image, and he drew that. And then the young kid was based on, you guys like Godzilla fans, old school Godzilla fans?
Old school Godzilla, yeah.
The little Chinese boy?
Yes.
Okay. He's based on him.
Wow, man. So you had your cast of characters, and you basically said, okay, this is what they look like. Here, draw this.
Yes.
Sweet, dude. I can't. I'm interested. I can't wait to see this book when it comes out. Whenever it comes out.
I can always show you show you the stuff. Like, oh, you take a look at here's the 110 pages. Figure it out.
Well, yeah, we could do that too. Anyway, Mark, listen, thank you so much for your time today. But is there anything else you want to promote while we have you on the air?
Yes. So in addition to the regular show we do,
yes,
we also do a live show in front of a studio audience. We're in Long Island. It's on the Source Mall. We do it usually it's the second Wednesday of every month. And whoever the guest is will come and they'll give away stuff. So I know that on the 13th, but he says it's going to end the 15th. So then we'll go on December 11th. And December 11th, we're going to have Day One Comic. He's going to be our guest. He's going to give away a couple of his books. And it will be recorded and it will be played. It will be aired just like every other episode.
Right.
But it's a live studio audience, so you get to win prizes and stuff. So we give away tickets to conventions. The guest always brings out something, so that's something to always check out. That's on awesome. Our Facebook page. We always mention it every Wednesday.
All right, perfect. And what is the where is it going to be? What mall?
That is the Source Mall in Long Island. It's next to Roosevelt Field, next to Roosevelt Field Mall in Long Island.
All right, perfect, dude. Yeah, no, definitely. So people got to check that out. Live show on that would be the 11th of December, because
yes,
this would have.
And then we have one every month after that.
Perfect, Mark. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate your time. And,
no, thank you.
We definitely got to hook up and talk more about this book, because I definitely want to check it out.
Sure. And you guys are always welcome to come back on our show anytime you want.
There you go.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, bud. Have a good one, man. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Take care,
again.
buddy. All right, bye.
All right, bye.
Should I freestyle? I picks up the books that I like to read. My fans all know me as Mr. Crazy. I'm here to represent the entire indie crew. Each and every week, I'll come back here for you. Sam the Crazy Man and Mr. Medina, giving you a new show without a repeater. So what did you read? What did you get today? Get the latest scoop right here on Catch Da Craze.
Oh, look at
you. Like that? You like that, right?
Now, was that really a freestyle, or did you have that written down
It was just.
It was a freestyle a few years ago.
Back in the days on the Boulevard of Linden. Right?
Oh. So. Nice, man. Hey, listen, I had no idea that Mark had a book. Did you know that?
No.
Oh,
negative.
I had no idea, dude.
So here's why now I understood when he says he's horrible at marketing getting sponsors for his show, because no one knew he had a book.
I had no idea.
No one knew he had a book.
I always thought it was, he just liked to, kind of go out and interview creators and give them a chance to get on the show.
I thought he was a radio personality.
Yeah, I had no idea that he was doing it.
A big comic
basically
fan.
To like kind of network, and he had a book that he wanted to basically pitch.
Yes,
and it worked.
Fantastic.
It worked. Good for him. Good for him. I definitely want to check that out though. And did you know about the live show, or was that something that he kind of just?
Yes, I was on his live show.
That was a live show.
That was a live show.
At the mall?
No, not at the mall. It was at the studio.
Oh,
so I know they do live shows at the studio, and they do it it used to be a library.
Yeah.
Now it's at a mall. I know that one time when I was there, they were talking about live show that they were going to do at a library.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's, kudos to Mark. He's been in the game for a while.
Yeah, he has, dude.
Still fighting a good fight.
03. And I remember Mark always, at the conventions and stuff like that. We've been on the show a couple. I mean, the show that he was talking about in Long Island, we went to that. We sat there with what was his name?
We were there with
Robert Nunez.
Roberto Nunez.
Yeah. We were there with Rob. Yeah,
that was a long drive.
Yeah,
we went to the diner. And yes.
Wow, man, good old days.
Yes, because we took a wrong turn and we ended up by the beach. Remember, we were trying to find it.
Sure, we did. We always did.
I'm talking to George, who doesn't remember.
Yeah, nothing, dude. I don't remember these things. My memory's shot.
Horrible. I'm talking to you every time. You remember? No.
I was like, dude, I'll be there Wednesday, Thursday. You're like, Tuesday and Wednesday. Oh, yes.
I was like, is he playing with me?
Yeah, I was joking. It was a joke.
He's tripping.
It was a joke.
No, but anyway, it was good to have Mark on the show. Thank you again for being on the show. We have some other good shows coming up down the pike.
Down the pike.
As we wind down to the end of the year, one of the things that we want to start talking about is holidays. The countdown to holiday gift giving.
That's right.
I think if you are a comic book fan, a movie buff, I think we'll talk about some things that we like that I've picked up over the years, and I think we talk about that. It's amazing how the year's almost ending, bro.
Yeah, dude. It's almost over. It's almost over. We have a few more weeks before before Thanksgiving, and then Christmas, New Year's.
Yes.
And that's it. It's over.
That's it.
It's a wrap.
You want me to rap again? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, no, let's just call it a wrap.
John's like, no, you didn't think I was gonna do that. But that was the sound. That was the track to that song. To that hook for the comic book show. So it was
good. You should record it and play it sometimes.
I got it recorded.
Oh, you do?
Yes, that's when we used to do the comic show. And we should talk about our favorite books.
Oh, okay.
That's what it starts off with. It picks up the books I like to read.
Okay. I thought that was the one you did with Sci-Fax for some reason.
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
no. There was a different one.
Different.
We had like a Jamaican jingle. Books. I like to read these books. Remember that?
Way to roll your tongue. Oh man.
So that was our show. We're excited about the fact that we are now on Spotify. We are on iHeartRadio. We are on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Podbeam, TuneIn, YouTube, MyTube. We all scream for some tubes. We are everywhere. So join us. We have a lot. See, is that
next month?
Traveling
It'll be next month.
Stuff.
December.
Traveling.
December. I'm sure we'll have another one in December. We'll promote
George,
December.
You have to explain to me this traveling stuff because
I'll explain it to you while we get ready to record the next show.
Are we there or are we here? Was it now? Or was it then?
We were there. Now we're here. Whatever. Listen,
I'm not that bright. Remember, I was a B plus.
You'll be all right.
I wasn't an A.
You'll be all right.
I was a B plus.
Listen, I got a bad memory. You were a B plus. We're a mess.
But yes, check out the gear. Catch the craze. Go and support the craze. We appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you. See,
it's okay.
Check out Mark. In here.
Check out Mark Torres. It came
here.
from the radio, and his live show is coming up in December 11th because the one that he's doing when we were recording this would have already passed. Anyway, peace.
Peace out. No doubt. And I say, that's crazy.